Yo, what's up people? It's Junior here, and if you're a muralist or looking to paint your first wall, this video is gonna save you a lot of time and stress, so thank me later. In this video, we're gonna be talking about how to price your murals, and we all know that that can be a daunting process, and you may not wanna be doing that, or you have no idea how to do it. I'm gonna tell you how. I'll be breaking down different methods on other artists on how they price their murals and different methods that you can take. But most importantly, I'm gonna be showing you my past projects so that you can have a reference points and tools to be pricing your murals, not for pennies, for lots of money, if that's what you want. Let me tell you why pricing your murals can be very tricky. Murals aren't canvases. It's not one size fits all. There's many things that you gotta take into account. Weather, scaffolding, rental equipment. Yet somehow people think that you can just pull out a number out your butt because they just think it's like a haircut. You come in and you say, hey, what's the mural price? It's not that easy, you gotta think about it. But every wall has its own legit story, so you have to make sure you know what you're doing. Let me tell you the pros and cons on different methods that you can take so that you know what you're getting yourself into. Okay, let's talk about the common pricing method. The most common pricing method that almost 90% of artists use out there is dollar per square foot. Now this price can range. It can range from $10 to $50. So for example, an 800 square foot mural, which is pretty big, if you're charging $25 per square foot, that's gonna equate to $20,000. Now here's the pros of that. It's extremely straightforward. You do the math. You times the width by the height, and that is your square foot. But here's the con. It doesn't account for the complexity of the project. There's a lot of things that you have to take into account, and we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so here's method number 2, daily or hourly rate. Some people's daily rate is $500 to $1,500 a day. But the cons about that, it doesn't consider the physical labor, the delays, and the weather. And method number 3 is flat project fee, which is kind of my go-to, but I also use square footage because I use that square footage to add into that project fee. So for example, I factor in time, travel, cost of labor, and basically everything that you can account for to get that project done from beginning to end. But here's the thing. The client doesn't know what I'm charging them per square foot. I'm just giving them a flat project fee so that they know exactly what they're getting themselves into. And most of the time, they love that because they already know what they're getting into. You're not charging them per square foot, you're not charging them per hour, you're charging them for the entire project in its entirety. Okay, so complexities of the projects, as I said before, you want to find out what it takes to create this project. There's sometimes you have obstacles in your way that you're gonna have to move around, you're gonna have to work around, or you're gonna have to work over. And that takes a lot of time and effort because it can be uncomfortable to be on a ladder for prolonged periods of time. It could be very difficult to work around couches or work around air conditioners, whatever that may be. You have to understand that. Other complexities of the project is surface. Different types of surface are gonna make it easier or harder for you to complete your mural. For example, painting on a corrugated metal wall. I did that one time and it was one of the hardest things I have ever done. But I charged correctly because I knew that this was not going to be an easy project and it was going to take a lot of time, a lot of paint, and a lot of effort. So you got to make sure that you understand your surfaces and you charge correctly. Something else that you got to consider is the weather. You can be painting in the hot sun all day without any shade, and you definitely have to account for that. And you can be painting in the dead of winter, which is very, 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 very cold, and you're outside and it makes it very hard for you to paint. So make sure that all of that ties into your project at the end price. There are so many obstacles out there that I can't even name because every project is different in their own right. Just make sure that you take everything into account. A tip that I do is go to the mural site and check out the site, walk around it, sit in a space for about 20 to 30 minutes, see how much people walk by, see how the sun comes up, if it's rising from the east to the west. Obviously it does that, but whether or not you'll be able to get some shade from time to time, really just trying to figure out what is going to happen from the start of your project to the end day. Okay, so let me give you some real examples of my work so you can kind of get an idea as to how I price my murals so that you can kind of get a reference. This was my largest mural to date, spanning 1,200 square feet in the heart of Noda in Charlotte, North Carolina. A wall this size comes with its own sets of challenges. I had to prep the surface, I had to rent a lift, and I had to make sure I had enough paint and supplies to cover every inch of this wall. Normally, my rate is around $35 to $40 per square foot, but because this project was so large, I brought it down to $25 per square foot. And I really wanted this wall, so I packaged everything, the lift rental, materials, prep, into one all-inclusive price to make it easier for the client to say yes. Now, could I have charged more? Absolutely. Especially since this was a corrugated wall, which adds a lot more extra work, but for me, the opportunities visibly outweighed the extra margin. And sometimes it's worth adjusting your rate strategically if that means landing your project you really want. But never show your clients that you really want a project. This was for Penthouse, Charlotte's very first illusional mural, and mine as well. The concept, a view of the city from way up high, as if you could fall right into it. It was one of the most challenging projects I have ever taken on because of all the perspective work involved. A lot of artists turned it down. They couldn't figure out how to make the illusion believable. As always, I wanted the challenge, but I also knew I had to price it accordingly. I spent an entire month researching perspective techniques before I even touched the brush. On top of that, I was painting on concrete, which comes with its own set of headaches. This mural wasn't huge, it was actually small, but it was packed with detail. I charged $50 per square foot, which is one of the highest rates I've ever charged, but because this was a high-level, specialized project that a few people were willing to take on. And honestly, I felt like I deserved more. But it was a huge learning experience, and it is one of the most unique murals I have in my portfolio. This project was a full room wrap with graffiti. Since it was indoors, I had the luxury of air conditioning, easy bathroom access, and no weather delays, which already made the job a lot smoother. The client had also brought in contractors to lay down a base coat of paint before I started. This saved me time and materials, which meant I could lower my rate. Normally, I charge $35 per square foot for a project like this, but because it was a base coat was already done, and because I wasn't painting every single wall, I dropped it down to $30 per square foot. Now, working indoors can come with some challenges, like moving couches and painting over furnitures just to reach certain walls. But overall, it was a comfortable job, and those little factors can make a difference when you're deciding your price. Okay, so whenever you price your murals, you gotta make sure you have some factors you need to consider, and make sure you think them through, because there's always something that comes up that you really didn't think through, and you kind of shoot yourself in the foot because you didn't charge correctly. When pricing a mural, I always consider surface prep. Make sure that you know how much time is gonna take you to prime it, sand it, and correct and fix the wall if needed. Design time. Design time is always a big thing. People don't really consider the design time. A lot of clients think that you can just create a design off the head and just throw it up on the wall as if it just came out of nowhere. It takes a lot of time to create and design something, so make sure you understand that. Equipment rental is very, very important. Sometimes you may need an equipment rental for about a week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, and that can run up the price heavily. So for example, if you're looking for a lift of some sort, your pricing is gonna be upwards of $1,000 to $2,000. And if you do it for a prolonged period of time, like 3 or 4 weeks, you're gonna be up there within the $5,000 to $6,000 range. So make sure you consider those things. Travel and lodging is huge. Make sure that you understand how much it's gonna cost you to rent an Airbnb or some type of a hotel if you're going away from your home. Make sure you account for assistance or team help. Not many artists can afford assistance, but when you can, make sure you account that. Or if the wall is too big for you, make sure you have some people aside so that you can work with them to help you finish this mural. And make sure you pay them well, because artists deserve to get paid the way you deserve to get paid. Insurance and permits. A lot of the time when you're creating massive murals or even smaller murals like I've created, they require some type of insurance. And that insurance can run you from $30 to $50 per month if you are on a plan. But there's other insurances out there that you can get per project basis, which I recommend if you just want to do a project per project basis. Revisions and meetings. You got to make sure that you understand that there's going to be different revisions to the project. Not many instances that a client is going to agree with your first design. And if they do, whew, what a blessing. But make sure to know that that's not always the case, and they're gonna wanna see other revisions. You can also put a cap on that within your contract, making sure that you give them 3, 4, or only 5 revisions so that you're not going around in circles, and you make sure that you're hitting that target that they want, so that there's expectations, understanding that there's a certain amount of revisions to the project. Time away from other work. So we're artists, and many times we have other projects that we're attending to, if you're very fortunate and are good in investing into your pipeline. So make sure that you understand that this project is going to take away time from your other projects that you also can be making money. Now, this is not a huge deal, but it's something to consider. Mindset and knowing your worth. In the beginning of my career, I undercharged a lot. To be honest, between me and you, I actually did my first 2 to 3 murals for free, and I just had the client pay for materials. But I did this strategically because I wanted to build my portfolio, and I didn't really have anyone to do that with. So with the help of the clients to pay for the materials, I did that. But as time went on, I still undercharged, and that's not doing any good for me and the art community. So making sure that you understand that with every project you take on, you can charge a little more and a little more, because that's just the name of the game. You're getting better with time, and if you're getting booked out that much, you're gonna have to charge. So make sure you do that for the sake of yourself and the sake of the art community, because no one should be undercharged, and you should always know your value and your worth. Here's some bonus tips for you to take away. Make sure you always have a contract. You gotta protect yourself, because if you don't, people can really just mess with you. Don't let them do that. You're an artist, you are a creative, you are valued, you are worthy. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. Always get a deposit, at least 50%. Some people do 25%, whatever. I do a non-refundable 50% because that also helps me with the design fee. You're gonna create your best when you feel valued. So make sure you always get a deposit of some sort, because it's gonna help you design better, it's gonna help you create better, and you're just gonna do your best work whenever you feel like you're paid. Be ready to walk away. And I know that's hard. Oh my God, no one wants to walk away from a $5,000, $10,000 project. But there's some times that you have to, because you know your worth. I recently walked away from a $20,000 project because I knew that the project was actually worth $40,000 and they didn't want to pay me. So I had to walk away. It sucks, but it's the name of the game. There's other projects down the line, so don't let that one hold you down. Okay, and the last one, document your process for future reference, because you're gonna wanna know what time it took you to do certain things and how to charge later on. Every project you learn something new, so make sure you understood what you did, how long it took you, so that you can then take that information, gather it all up, so that you can know how to charge your next mural project. At the end of the day, there's no right price or wrong price. It's your price. You just have to figure out what that is. You just don't want to be undervalued. Some artists can get paid thousands upon thousands of dollars, and they may feel happy or kind of sad because they didn't feel valued in their project. It really depends up to you, and it's all relative. Just make sure that you're charging your price that you feel very comfortable with, and it varies to every single person. Okay, so I think you're ready for your next mural project, and I think you're gonna be in the right position to charge correctly and know your worth. So make sure you charge right, because you deserve it. Every artist should be paid, and make sure you know your value and your worth. Learn from your previous projects and keep on going. You got this. I believe in you. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And make sure you hit that notification bell, because I have so many other videos coming out and I would love for you to watch. So make sure you subscribe. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.